few minutes. Just by a couple, just enough to make people wonder. But here we are. We're going to get into a Spanish tortilla tonight, which is great because I have a lot of eggs that I want to use. I only want to eat so many egg McMuffins. Let's see, this recipe is a little bit wordier than what we're used to, so I got some full slides for everybody. I got some coffee for myself. Almost back to a normal work week. I'm gonna start getting a nice wash of the hands here, and then we'll start grabbing our ingredients. Something that in case I forget to mention later on the show, I guess one of the things I was going to mention is talk about hand soaps. Especially people that work on the line or the kitchen, they probably have their work soaps. And I know personally I had some skin irritation caused from washing hands so much. Alright. Let's see how everything is looking. We'll do a quick sound check here in a second. Let me pull up the ingredients that we're going to be working with today. Got that down in the corner. It's a little bit on the it's right here. It's a little bit on the smaller side, but don't worry, I'll shrink down here in a minute. So we're going to use olive oil today. Usually we stick around with sunflower oils or avocado oils, but we're going to go ahead and stick exactly to the recipe that is featured in this book, The Best of America's Test Kitchen, from the 2011. Let me go ahead and bring up the source real quick as well. A little sugar for the coffee, and this is going to be for review purposes. Review of the recipe, and in the same time during the review it'll serve as a little bit educational. I was really excited for this recipe for the eggs, using 8 eggs in this recipe. And what was the other benefit? Oh yes, we get to start an easy flip for people to do. And after you start making 10 of these, I bet after that you'll either have this plate method down really well, or you'll start wanting to flip this tortilla. So let's get down to it. So one of the ingredients here, we're going to go ahead and shrink me down here. We'll get rid of that guy, and we're going to get the ingredients up. Alright, so we'll go ahead and grab the potatoes here, Yukon Golds. When you're grabbing potatoes, it's good to just only pick up the potatoes that you're going to need to use for the week. Anything more than that can start to go green on you. And it doesn't specify what onion. We're going to go with this red onion just because I need to actually get rid of that onion. A yellow or white should do just fine as well. Let's see, what else do we need? Half a cup of peas. So I had this bag was thawing out on the counter, and then once it thawed, I just threw it back in the fridge just to keep it not from getting too sopping wet. Let's see. We'll also go ahead and pull out our pepper and our salt. And yes, roasted red peppers. Where did I put those guys? This was the red peppers were the hardest part to find. I think they were in the condiments section. They weren't in with the rest of the vegetables. Let's see here. So, potatoes. We're going to go ahead and, let's see, 3 to 4. Let's see how many pounds this is. This is 3 pounds. Maybe a pound and a half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 altogether. It's 3 pounds. So 2, 4, 6. It's 2.3. Try to find another one the same size. Yeah. It's roughly a pound and a half there. Half a cup. Let's get the big gold screen going back again. Half a cup. That should be this guy here. So the cooking, I grabbed, this should be interesting. These are soybeans instead of peas. I got too excited when I saw them right away in the store, I guess. Didn't know that there was something that green and pea shaped. Well, that's a little rendition to the recipe then. Alright then. I'm sure that will be fun. So the peas, and it's written in this recipe that the peas and the red peppers don't have to be used. If you want a more traditional Spanish tortilla, you would omit them. Now let's see here. Oh, the full camera doesn't have. Let's bring out the ingredients. A half a cup. Half a cup of roasted red peppers. We're gonna go ahead and get a bowl here. So just setting up the prep here. Getting all our ingredients ready, that way we can just focus on the cooking. Got the paper towels over there because we're going to pat these dry. A little hard to get a full half cup, but we made it work, made it happen. Measuring cup and such. Rinse. We're going to go ahead and off camera just scrubbing the potatoes real quick, just giving them a quick rinse, and then we're going to go ahead and peel them as well. This recipe that we got today, it is a bit wordy on the slides, but don't worry. There's only 3 slides altogether. Okay. Peel these. And then I'll go ahead and sneak in the next slide on what step 1's going to be, and then I'm just going to be peeling these tomatoes here real quick. Letting right here just getting dry my red peppers. No, off the camera that way. It's an awkward angle for me. Let's see. There we go. Now I can keep an eye on everything. And then this is about a 2-hour show for those that are joining us. And we try to do as much as the boring stuff on camera, like the peeling the potatoes and everything, just so you can see the whole process. Not skipping any steps, not doing that magical TV. It's good old-fashioned cookery. This is going to be a good one. This can be a breakfast meal, this can be a dinner meal. I'm going to have this for, I guess, lunch. Is where I'm at right now. Though we are just about to hit 6:30 Mountain Time. So the first round cooking these potatoes takes about 25 minutes. There's about half an hour of cooking involved, but I think it's going to be well worth it. Plus, there's and then there's an additional 15 minutes where you need to let this cool down as well. Just a heads up as we get further down. 2 out of 3 peeled. Ooh, and happy Friday, everybody. We did it. We made it to the weekend. Just have one more shift to put in, and then I get to relax. Looking forward to that. I was out in Washington State last week with my family. That was a whole lot of fun to shoot a video in my sister's kitchen. Well, now we're back. Back with the aprons too. Alright. And I always like to have the second cutting board when I'm cutting an onion, just so not all my food ends up tasting like said onion. I'm going to go ahead and give this top cut in half. We're going to go ahead peel this back. It's asking for these to be thinly sliced. So this recipe is coming from the American Test Kitchen book, and with these recipes they're very wordy, but they're telling you exactly how to do them, because this recipe, it does need a little bit of a finesse. But the thing is that the reason why I really recommend this recipe though is because it requires finesse with cheap ingredients. The main ingredients are eggs and potatoes. If you have to mess up on something, mess up on those. This is a great, and also with the eggs and just with how everything's setting, this is going to be a really great recipe that's going to give you a feel for just like that. You're going to be able to start being able to look at things and what you're cooking and just know where it's at. Like, oh, that needs like 3 more minutes. Instead of just having to be like, well, the recipe says 11 minutes, and I don't know, and then yeah, you won't have to worry as much about overcooking it and such. This is the first time I'm making this recipe personally myself. Woo, that's a strong onion. It just gets you a little emotional here. I'm gonna go ahead and move that thinly sliced onion. Okay. Let's see, that would be a bad habit. We'll go ahead and put those over there. And then it says to go ahead lengthwise to quarter. Oof, that was careful. And then quarter inch or half-inch strips. Is that right? So quartered lengthwise. Half-inch strips. Woohoo! Oh, that one almost got away. Alright, quartered lengthwise. Half-inch strips. Alright, there's the potatoes. Let's see. There we go, roasted red pepper here. And let's see, those were, we're going to have to check. We're going to have to pull back up our ingredients list here real quick. Let's see. Half-inch pieces. Okay. Let's see, and then we're going to need that 10-inch skillet. Voila! And let's see. I think we'll cook it on this burner, that way we got a better shot for you folks. Because it'll be kind of important to be able to see. This will be nice, you'll get to see it here first, exactly what it means to set it up, for the eggs to set up. And then we're just going to finish prepping our ingredients, half-inch slices here. So this is a whole pepper. And then you're just going to go ahead pretty straightforward. Just lay it flat. Cutting it in about half-inch slices, turning it, and getting it diced. Said half-inch pieces, but this was the only part where it seemed a little unspecific about diced or just half-inch lengthwise pieces. Okay. So let's get to step one here. Go ahead and split the camera here. Okay. So. Alright, so extra virgin olive oil. That just means it's been refined more. So there's less, what we want to say, less flavor, more refined. And yes, I know I said I was going to measure everything, but I have done my homework. I've read this recipe ahead of time. I know that this is okay to eyeball, because then the other 2 tablespoons of oil are going to go for when we are cooking. I'm going to go ahead and start getting this warmed up too. A little nuanced thing, I was picking it up with my fingers, I'm going to use my knuckles to work that way it doesn't get the starchiness onto the handle. Just a little less to clean up. It's not like it's not like it's more sanitary. This just helps a little bit with the cleaning. All right, the pepper, the onion. Okay. I'm going to break this up too. The red onion is going to give it more of like a spicy flavor. So if you want to have something on the sweeter side, use a yellow onion. If you want something that tastes like onion, use a white onion. Onion and pepper. Okay. Gonna give my fingers a little rinse here, and then we'll go ahead and add the peppers and such. Okay, and we're rocking and rolling. Just have this at a 2, at a really low. We're just getting some life added to it to save us a little bit of time. We'll go ahead and actually get that up to a 4. This is going to be medium-high heat that we need that skillet at. We're going to go ahead and do a quick sound check too, just because it's a little quiet and I'm sus, super sus. I got to play some my first Among Us, so that was a lot of fun. Okay, let's see what we're looking at here. Okay, perfect. All right, nothing to worry there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just take this time to get some soap on my hands. Those phones, those pesky phones. Dirty stuff. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead, this mix, we're gonna go ahead and just use our hand. Don't be scared. It's a great mixing tool, and it's free. We're just getting everything nice and coated. Ooh, I really hope I don't botch this recipe. That would be funny. It's a little bit more of a finesse. What if I completely read the recipe wrong? Ooh, I guess this is the excitement of a live show. Am I right? All right. So we have that. Go ahead and rinse my hands off again. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to follow this recipe to a T. However, I'm not very happy that this recipe is telling me to use a non-stick skillet and to also use olive oil. Now, let me show you what has happened to a pan that I've used a lot of olive oil on. I'll show you. This is a ceramic. And it has been cooked at very high heat, but we got this marring from the oil. Now maybe this is unrelated, but I saw this quickly change when it was using olive oil in particular. And I've been trying to follow these instructions on these other ceramics. Now I'll have to look up the word too on what exactly that is happening. It was like kind of like a caramelization word. So now that I can look right at this medium-high heat, I'm going to go ahead and keep further increasing the temperature. We're going to go ahead and get our 2 tablespoons of oil. That was a great bulk purchase. However, to make it a little bit more handy in the kitchen, you can always save one of your glass containers from a previous purchase. Fill her on up. That's really what I wanted to do. I threw away the sunflower oil glass bottle, and then when you switch it up, funny stuff, adult problems, they don't fit on your shelves right, but that's where the sunflower oil goes, and now it doesn't fit. 2 tablespoons of oil heating up until shimmering. So the oil is going to go, when the oil gets to temperature, it thins and it gets more transparent, so that shimmer, I believe, is what it's referring to. I have this recipe worded word by word from the recipe book for review purposes. I'm still not exactly sure, you know, I read the copyright information, and it says I am able to reproduce for review purposes, but I'm not sure what the etiquette is on showing the recipe. Though I would say that food belongs to everybody, but I really recipes are important. Crediting people's work is important. Food belongs to everybody, and once you have the knowledge, they can't take the knowledge away from you. So hopefully this isn't the wrong way to go about it, because all, online recipes are great and all, but it's really nice to show you this recipe here because it looks kind of intimidating with how much wording there is to it, but it's just being very specific. That way you don't suddenly bring in a metal, it says rubber spatula 4 different times here in this recipe. Okay, so medium high heat, and then we're going to reduce to medium low heat. So we're going to put that right down so it just about hits smoking. And the onions still got a little clumped up, so I just grabbed them and just pulled them out around. And now what I'm trying to do is to get everything sitting pretty evenly around. This isn't just random poking, trying to get everything to set in there, not be overlapped and crisscrossed a bunch, but to be more lying flat and evenly. Perfect. Let's see where we are in this recipe here. So we're going to go ahead and set a timer for 25 minutes, and we're going to give this a stir every 5 minutes. So that was, I quickly added that because I went from medium high heat and I saw it shimmering, and then it was starting to, it was right at that, at the smoking point, so I'm like, ooh, perfect, because that'll cool off the oil, because it'll keep, if the oil is just the only thing in there, it would have kept on heating up, and it would have kept on smoking the oil, and then once you have burnt oil, your food's it's bad business. You don't want it. Say, especially with butter, burnt butter, it's like that burnt popcorn taste. Ooh. So, we need to get this for 25 minutes. There we go. Hi, Amy and Bobby. Thank you very much. Good to see you folks. This is going to turn into a Spanish tortilla. We're going to do a little bit of a flipping action here. Super excited. This is a little bit of a finesse. I'm excited too because I get to show, this is first time doing the recipe, but I bet I'll have a good eye for it because it's eggs and potatoes. I love cooking that stuff for the diner flair. But this is something like totally different, and it's a really cheap recipe that you can work on your finesse, is what I was telling folks at the very beginning. Let's see. Oh, I need to go ahead and cover this. Alright, cover and cook, and we'll be checking it every 5 minutes. Now that we have a little bit of time, I didn't end up using all of that small onion. I have a little bit extra here, and we'll go ahead. That'll be, that could probably go really nice with a salad, actually. So I won't go dice it or anything. Just jar it up. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. It's always good to see you folks. And while we're cooking the potatoes here, just being clean as you go, being pros with it, taking a look around. Let's see, I can get these put away. Let's see. I want to go ahead and put these in the fridge. I only got one left. That's going to make a nice little jar for something too. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, those definitely get added together. We'll have this off to the side here. Alright, not much to it but to do it. Something I didn't know about the blue sponges is that they're antimicrobial. And I was like, ooh, that's perfect, because I thought you had to buy the expensive brown ones to get that. These, however, are a little bit, their scrub side is a little bit too coarse for, I could see you on a brand new one, on those blue sponges, being able to mar up your pads, your pans and stuff. I like to use those ones more for counters and stuff. I try not to let my dishes get dirty enough to have to use a scrub pad. Alright. Things are looking pretty good so far. 2 minutes before we even have to just stir that up. Let's go ahead and look to see at what the next, let's see, what am I showing? 1 out of 4. But it's this one, yeah, okay. Ah yes, we have to take care of the eggs. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. As clean as you go, so I am a pro. Though I guess it was a little unnecessary to have to rinse that out. So you're just mixing the eggs into it next. Let's see, we're 1 minute away, so we'll stir this and then we'll get into our egg action. So we're just whisking the eggs and the salt until combined, and we're going to use a large bowl because we're going to be adding the potatoes into the eggs, mixing it all together, and then adding it back into the skillet. And this is where the wording, so folding is when you take it with a spatula so this would be like a stir, and then this is the folding. So this is when it says to fold it for 15 seconds here in the recipe. This is what it's meaning, and that helps not beat it's more gentle. I'm not sure if I can say that it helps not beat the air out of it. You could beat, I know when you whisk eggs you beat air into it, but let's give this a little stir here real quick. And kind of pay attention, make sure it's not over browning. This is where you want to be taking a look to see if you have to adjust your heat. And right now it looks like just a really good stir will keep anything from getting too out of hand. And then you don't have to do this in a minute. You can take your time with it to get it done right. And this can be reduced just the slightest. I'm going to have it at a 4 is medium low heat, so 4 is where we're going. 4.5 I thought was going to be there. The 4 is where it's going to end up. So 8 eggs. All right, let's get those eggs going. Go ahead and switch up to the full camera here for a little bit, just to change it up on the screen. Let's see. Oh, these look like some fancy eggs right here. Ooh, they're like stamped and everything. Wow. Okay, so we want 8 of these. Let's see, is this in the shot here? Okay, perfect. Two. 3. Oop. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And we'll go ahead. Now there is a little bit of a shell right there. So what we're going to do is with our non-egged hand, now it doesn't matter because I'm just going to press on it and drag it out. It wasn't really in the camera. And you're washing your hands anyway, so just pick it up, get it removed, wash your hands. And then we'll go back and we'll stir those potatoes here in a second. Whew, nice and hot water. Oh, adding our salt. Let's see here. So we have our eggs ready. We're not going to mix it just yet. We're going to focus here on the potatoes. And in just 1 minute, we're going to go ahead and give them another stir here. And we're cooking them down, getting them nice and soft. Have a nice little coffee break here. Ooh, so excited for it to be Friday. So excited to rest up. And then I know in future recipes too, I want to get, so it's not only an Instant Pot, it's also a pressure cooker. And I think it's amazing. I love cooking rice in it. It is the new best thing ever. Also, I was able to, on the last week's episode, we made that family dish. Oh, this is a good time to mention, on that family dish, I was wrong about the price. When I was thinking that the whole recipe costs about $18, it actually, I had some pancake mix on there that cost $5. So actually it ended up being only about $6, and it served, and 6 people ate on it for like multiple meals. So it was $1 per person for each person to be full, like have is until they are satisfied type of dish for $1. Like it probably came out to like 25 cents a plate, 30 cents a plate. So that was pretty cool. It can be done in the Instant Pot. It doesn't last in the Instant Pot. You can't have it warm for 4 hours because the rice gets a little bit too mushy. But I gave it a little roll there. You can saute your onions and sweat your vegetables in the Instant Pot, and then you just add in your rice, your bouillon mix still, and put on the rice, and then bam, it's like perfect in 12 minutes. All right, give this another. And I can feel if your potatoes break up a little bit, that's okay. They're going to, that is the intent. Maybe I was supposed to get the slices a little bit smaller. Maybe I'm about to find that out. I think that they're going to be breaking down because they're supposed to be able to get tender enough where there's no resistance when you put in a paring knife. And then that medium-low heat is definitely important for this. It'll definitely help you keep you from getting any thing too burned on the bottom of your pan. If this was on a medium heat or a medium-high heat, you'd definitely be getting scorch marks. So this is definitely, like I said, this whole recipe definitely helps you with your finesse. And it's helping you with your heat control, with what you're looking for on the browning, understanding when you cook the potato when it's going to be softened, the caramelization of the onions. It smells delicious. Lots of stuff, lots of nuance. And it's cheap. Onion, cheap. Eggs, cheap. Potato, cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. So we're bouncing back and forth between step 1 and step 2, and there is only one more step after that, and that's when we get to the nice flippity-doo-dah, flippity-day. And we have only about 10 more minutes cooking with this here. And yeah, it's we're totally clean in the kitchen, just a very minimum prep work, I would say. For cutting the potatoes, much easier than what we did on the last week's episode, cutting up all that celery. dicing up all those carrots. This stuff, hopefully it'll just break down like it's supposed to. I hope I don't have an over... This is supposed to turn basically into a potato cake, is kind of what the Spanish tortilla is. Another way to describe it. So I really hope these potatoes break down like they're supposed to. Whew. I'll rip microwave. I fixed the handle on it, but the glue came off on it, so now I need to repair that again. Forgot that was going to be in the shot. Whoops. Hello. Welcome. We got a vegetarian cooking show going on, and we're doing a Spanish tortilla. It's good stuff. We're just cooking down the potatoes, softening them up right now. We got our eggs on standby in the bowl. Just enjoying a little bit of coffee. It's the quiet part where you just listen. Have to get that stirred out another 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and look at step number 3 while we got some time on our hands. Okay, so this is after, if you finished step 2, after you get the egg mixture just set and everything, and the potatoes after you've mixed it in the bowl and set. Let's see. So to fold it, that's going to be kind of this, I understand why it's saying to fold. So when we're talking about the folding, it's this type of motion with the folding. And you're going to be applying pressure on the fold. It's going to help break the potatoes down and combine it with the eggs. I think I see where this recipe is going. Hey, Knockwood Saddle, good to see you. It's really good to hear ya. We're bouncing between step 2 and step 3. This is a dish that requires a little bit more finesse, but the ingredients are super cheap. Potatoes cheap, eggs cheap, and you get to, and then after a couple of times, you could get good enough where you could just slip this by just out of the skillet. But you can always use the plate method if you'd like. Let's see. Which is being described on page 217. Okay, let's see if it talks about breaking down the potatoes a bit more here. Medium-high heat, oil, and cook, constant, no. Nope, okay, I think the folding is where you're supposed to really work the eggs and the potatoes in together. And then that's moving on to step 3. And this is where the final finesse, because you don't want to burn it, you want to set it. It's going to be kind of like an omelet, but it's going to be totally different. But that's as close as I can get. It's going to be like, oh, it's literally like the middle ground between flipping a pancake and flipping an omelet. Let's see, so when this hits the 5-minute mark, go ahead and cooking potatoes. Potatoes are kind of like rice. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. It'll do its thing. That's how you get really nice hash browns. Just let it cook. You wait, and then you flip. And step 3 is really just, it's describing the process. Ooh, I should have my plates ready. Oh, I want to have 2 of the smaller plates, but they're locked. So lighter plates would be more ideal for this. You want them to be the same size. We'll have those. That's how we're gonna flip. That's gonna be the easy flip. Alright, this is close enough. We're going to go ahead and give this another. And what I'm doing is it said to use a rubber spatula, again, that was, I don't know if times have changed since 2011 with that specific instruction, but on my non-stick, I rather use a wooden spoon. Now I'll switch to the spatula once I'm working with my eggs. It's just for the potatoes, the wooden spatula gives me more resistance to really make sure that the onions don't start getting stuck on the bottom of this pan here. And they're really starting to break down. They shrunk in size, so it's easier to get it all kind of even here. You'll notice too also the onions have reduced in size a whole lot. And things are starting to break down. So this can cook between 22 to 28 minutes. We split it right in half. We're trying to give this the best stir we can here. Potatoes are already starting to break down. Try to get it off the sides here. As thin layer as possible that you can work to will help it cook evenly. And 5 more minutes to go. And then, so step 2 and step 3, this is where I'll be looking. We'll go over it again, because things are going to start happening very quickly. So that was step 1. I want step 2. Come on, step 2. There's citation. Step 3. Oh dear. Ingredients. Let's refresh over the ingredients real quick. So we got olive oil to cook. And the olive oil is for cooking. We had the potatoes. We had the onion, salt, pepper, 8 eggs. And then the roasted red peppers and the peas are optional. So you don't even need that. So this recipe also is pretty cheap. And it's going to be delicious, I'm sure. I'm sure this is going to be great. I am interested to see, I accidentally grabbed soybeans instead of peas. So I hope this doesn't alter the flavor of the recipe too much. However, I ain't scared of the vegetable. I ain't running away today. Just a couple more minutes. Those potatoes are getting cooked real nice. Real nice. Okay. (22 to 28 minutes). Almost done with that. I'll go ahead and just add that in there into my egg mixture. Okay, so what we need to pay attention here is out of the skillet, and then you want the skillet to go back to the medium-high heat, and 1 teaspoon of oil, just beginning to smoke. Ooh, that's my rubber one. So you can see I am able to move this around easier and easier in the pan because they just keep on getting reduced and shrunk down. So the one I want to test is like the biggest potato chunk, because I can cook this for up to 3 more minutes. And I just might add another 2. Okay. Now let's see. I want to make sure add, and it just says to fold it, so it doesn't say to beat the eggs. So I'm going to pay attention to that because beating your eggs is going to add air into it. So maybe this recipe, for it to set up properly, I'm going to try to follow this recipe to a T. It's a very wordy recipe, but they're really like giving you no wiggle room to be like, oh, did they mean this or did they mean that? It's very like, it's very, again, very straightforward. Every time it's like, use a rubber spatula, rubber spatula. I'm like, wooden spoon. When we get to flipping though, when we get to the adding the eggs, definitely rubber spatula though. Let's see, just making sure I'm not missing anything. Because this next part, when we add the egg mixture back into the hot pan, that's going to be the moment. And I'm really trying to prep my pan to keep this non-stick surface. I'm really trying to make sure anything that nothing's sticking. Okay, so for this, I'm going to I'm not going to, I'm just breaking up my yolks and getting the eggs whites mixed a little bit because this hot mixture is going to start cooking the eggs. So this is why I mean that things are going to start happening quickly. Okay, so in fact, they're going to be so quickly, I'm going to actually just have, like I was saying before, this is kind of like really cumbersome. There we go. So I have our oil right there. Alright, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and start putting that back up to medium-high heat. Get everything in. Trying to return it to heat as quickly as possible. And then go ahead and add the oil. And we have to pay attention and we're going to fold this in. And then, so the reason why this bit is definitely a little bit of finesse is because it's right when it's smoking. The idea about it is that you want it just hot enough, and that's going to really help set the bottom base so the whole thing cooks. I got a little oil. I smelled that. I reacted to a smell just now. A little bit of oil got onto the actual burner, but I wasn't sure what was going on there. Okay, so we're looking just for when it's about to smoke. It's medium-high, so it's no higher than 6. After that, you're starting to go high, and we're looking just for the part right when it's about to smoke. However, that is smoking from the burner. And we're just folding this in the whole time while we're waiting. And the potatoes are still, there's some pretty big chunks still. I'm not sure if it was supposed to break up more. Like I said, we're doing this live, first time. Hopefully I didn't botch up the recipe. It seemed pretty simple enough to understand, but you never know these days. Just looking just for when it begins to smoke, which is right about now. Okay. Medium high heat. Ooh, I got rid of it. Alright, said folding the mixture constantly for 15 seconds. This is just to give everything a head start. Okay. Now we're shaking it. And then it's already pretty smoothed out on the top. Okay, so we're going to reduce the heat down to medium. So that's going to be just under 5, like 4.75. I'm going to get it off the edges here, all the way off the edges. Let's see. So about 2 minutes. And about every 30 seconds, you're just going to be jiggling it a little bit. And that's just to help not have it burn here. So you might have saw it was nice and hot right at that smoking point, right? That's a certain temperature because there's a smoking point to the oil. So if you use, this is important, so if you go ahead and use a different oil than olive oil for this recipe, it's going to have a different smoking point. So this recipe is particular on the oils that you're using for it, because that smoking point for the olive oil, this is going to work. It's not going to fail because it was the right temperature and it started to set the way it needed to. You're able to follow the medium high heat instruction. Avocado oil has an incredibly high smoking temperature, so if you do it right before the avocado oil smokes, I don't even know if that would happen on a medium high heat. Sorry for the fan action there. So there's a little bit of oil or something on the side here all the time. That'll really save you from your fire alarm going off on you. And then something kind of like cheese, something that's really annoying to clean up after the fact is egg. So I'm going to make sure that I pay attention to this bowl sooner than later. Alright. So we're looking for this to be set. Okay, so we're going to take a peek underneath here. It's still not quite set on the top here. But I want to make sure I don't need to reduce the heat if this is cooking too quickly on the bottom here. And it is browning pretty quickly. So what I'm going to do, and you see, let's see, you see how much it's moving up on the top there? That's a little bit too much. So it still hasn't quite set. So and it's browning, so I'm going to reduce the heat. The lid needs to stay on. That's keeping the temperature up on the top there. And things are a little bit oily, so it's smoking on me a little bit. Okay, so this actually does seem a little bit harder to flip than just, this is a big boy. This is a little much to be able to just flip. So what you do here is it's set up pretty well. What we're going to do, so we're going to make sure it's free all the way around, like so. We're going to ease it onto this plate here. Okay. Put that to the side here real quick. It has now been flipped very easily, and we're going to go ahead and slide it back on. And then we're going to tuck it back in a little bit. We have a little bit of some happy mistakes here, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and move these ingredients that we can't get back underneath it. We'll just go ahead and set it right on top. Okay, we are officially on the last slide. Okay. Let's see. So it doesn't require it to be covered again. So it takes about another 2 minutes. So this is why I flipped it, even though I want it to set on the top a little bit better. This is about as dark as you want to get it. Past this, it's no longer brown. You're starting to enter the burnt territory. Cooking it to when it's darker is going to make it much easier to flip, and there's going to be more cooked all the way through. The temperature is very important, and then it is when you cook it correctly, when you let it set, it's really easy to flip. It's really easy to transfer back on that. Now, it didn't quite make it to the edge here, and so what I did when I got to the end there, you saw me jitter my pan to push the lip, and then I was able to tuck in the rest, because it has a chance of your last little 2 inches of the omelet coming off on this side right here. No good. Okay. So we just got about, I want to set 1 more minute, and then you can also it's a little big peek that you can do it. Oh. So it doesn't want to quite let it sit. Where it was, since it was a little bit of trouble, I know it's not like too far gone. If it's too far gone, the whole thing starts to pick up. If it's being loose on you, it's in a good place. So I'm going to go ahead, and I am going to go ahead and cover it for the last minute, last couple of seconds, and this is just really building back up the heat for when it goes onto the cutting board here. I'm really trying to give, in these last moments of cooking, I'm really trying to give it, I'm trying to make sure the center is as cooked as possible here. This is just, call it intuition, but I'm so quiet right now because I'm really listening. And that's what they call a Spanish tortilla, folks. We're going to go ahead, turn off our burners, set a timer for 15 minutes, let it cool off, and we will enjoy that. 7:25 Mountain Time. Booyah. Took about, let's see. So we got our stuff out probably about like 6:20 or so. We really started prepping, and let's see. So it could take you, it's just cutting up potatoes and the onion. So I don't see it taking much longer than 15 minutes altogether. I think we took about 20. And then, yeah, it is not the easiest recipe to pull off though. This is, you need to know how eggs set up, but it's just like, I'm very happy, can't wait to taste it. It definitely, like, if you can cook this recipe, you got a good handle on your eggs and your potatoes. Like, you understand how to cook on your temperatures. It's a great recipe. America's Test Kitchen, like Alton Brown is one of the TV shows that I grew up on, and I stumbled across the book that we reviewed today, the Best of America's Test Kitchen 2011 here. And so we should do full justice to the terms that we were allowed to use that recipe for and review the recipe. And I would say that the recipe, I really like how it's heavy wording, but it leaves no room for error. It gives you, if you follow those instructions to the T, you're going to get the result. I have never made this before, and I was able to get things at the right temperature, specifically because of that little oil tip that we talked about earlier. The ingredients were easy to find, and the steps, there was only 3 steps. So it was 2 weeks ago when I think we were doing it was a type of carrot soup. That recipe had about 7 different steps, and it didn't even tell you what to do with all the vegetables. Like, it was not the best recipe. And this one here, the American Test Kitchen, very, very well worded. Not too, just exactly what it needs. Tells you exactly how to get success. And then this one also did have pictures, but I was able to show those off. You guys got the video instructions for it today. And really not much to clean up. Just got a couple plates and such to put away. Be able to cut into this real soon. So, as far as cleanup goes on your stove top, cooking with that oil, there's a little bit of little splatter. Nothing a paper towel can't solve. Whew! I am hungry. Next time I'm going to choose a recipe that doesn't require me waiting 15 minutes to eat it. But hey, I'll be able to have this kitchen on lockdown, and I'll have just a few minutes because we'll go 8 o'clock Mountain Time. It's usually when we finish wrapping the show up. I can't wait to slice into this. I'm sure it's going to be great. Ooh-wee. All right, we can go ahead and remove the apron. Let's see. I know I said now by next week is when I should officially be able to start actually getting that email list ahead of time on the recipes that I'll be cooking. Just was in not a weird spot, but just a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to get the kitchen stocked correctly, and then there was the holidays and all this, but now we're pretty much out of it, pretty much going good. I can show off some mint that we got growing right here, and I wanted to show you about, if you can keep it on the smaller side, I'll show you what happens. So when you cut it, I'm not exact, so this used to be one stalk, and then I trimmed it right here, and now two grow from it. This is the same as your basil. This is how when you cut it, it responds well to it and will actually grow more. So pruning your plants on a regular, I think the rule is that when it's three nodes up, that's what I followed on this for the basil. On this one, you might even go down to, I think the original nodes, I think it was actually down here. It's where the node, where the node was. So I think that used to be mint leaves too. So this is the third one, and then the fourth one, and it's going on its fifth one. So you can cut this way back down, and it'll respond to that. And then also you keep the plant smaller, it doesn't need as much roots here down at the bottom. And then yeah, just some regular old mint. The banana mint, now there's a blast from the past, finally ready to show the banana mint off again. You guys, I have a tomato basil bisque recipe and the highlights, and this, look at, after I gave the haircut, this is a very different beast, but I managed to keep it alive. Scared me in the winter. This is, I've been a plant daddy for at least 2 years, but I don't think I had as many indoor plants last winter, because this winter just scared me. I totally had that first winter like, ah! Like, I think a lot of people ended up buying houseplants this year, so I think I've seen some few plant forums that were joking about a plant parents' first winter. Only a couple more minutes. 8 whole minutes. 8 whole minutes before I can eat. But we're doing a rare thing. We're actually following the recipe all the way through. Go figure. Now that doesn't happen too often, but hey, so I followed the recipe to the T, but I didn't measure my oils out, which I'm fine with. 6 tablespoons of oil. Want me to measure that out? Ridiculous. No, ridiculous. Just want to slice it. Just want to get to it. Wait for this to cool down. Pretty cool. And basically no more to clean up. Oh, still got that bowl. Alright. Yeah, sorry about the dish noises there, folks. Actually, will probably need a dishwasher. I'll pull up a chair, settle down for a little bit, see what's good. We just have to let it. Oh, I still want it to be in the shot though. This delicious food that we just made. Uh, and somehow my big old head still manages not to be in the shot. Yep, just waiting to be able to cut it up. We only got about 5 minutes left. Oh, I'll tell you folks, usually I have a better time filling in the void. I haven't played any music on the cast for a little while now, just because I'm already concerned enough about using recipes out of the books. When we first started the show, oh gosh, was it 18 episodes ago? I was just pulling my own recipes basically, and those were fun. But as I started to get more people following and watching, I wanted to really be able to present stuff that was more fail-proof, because I'm not really the pickiest of eater, especially when it's your money going into the food and stuff. If I messed up on a recipe, like, it was still fine. I'm like, oh, like one good example is when we did the enchiladas. The enchiladas were great, but oh, did I do the dessert enchiladas that day too? I think I did, but we basically, like, I'm getting my episodes mixed up, but there was a recipe where we made a kind of cream cheese filling substitute, and it was just it tasted good, but it was just a little too messy. It was a little too viscous, a little too thin. But I thought it was delicious. But it was after that recipe where I was like, okay, like, I might end up getting someone really mad if I tell them, like, yeah, this is the bomb, this is the way to do it. And I'm like, and they did. So we started following recipes more to a T, and it's worked out pretty well. I haven't been sued yet for just showing people how to live. Like, I haven't gone on it for a little while, but while I do like to show more men in the kitchen, it's almost like I just want to show, like, you can have fun, like, and it doesn't have, it's not like you get extra manly points for being able to do it. Like, it's like, congratulations, you have a basic human skill. And I know a lot of people aren't able to cook and they're interested in cooking, they want to cook quickly, but you don't need to go into the restaurant to accomplish that. And also, like, even though I have years of restaurant experience, like, I will still run into a leak and I'll be like, wow, how do I prepare a leek? Because the restaurant, you're loyal to a restaurant, you stay there for years, you're not necessarily cooking with all the ingredients, especially in stuff like diners, players, Denny's, IHOPs, places like those where it's just a very sterile environment. This is the batter, this is the eggs, and this is the bacon. You're not going shopping, finding these ingredients, etc. But I make sure to do this show every Friday, no matter what's going on. And this show has seen a lot. The light switch caught on fire, so I did the show all like in a kind of a neon light. And then there's so much stuff to go over, but we got 1 minute left and we'll finally be able to cut this open. Excited for that. Whew. But yeah, like I said, usually a bit better at filling the void, but it's been a solid week of work. I got a few days off to be able to go to mourn and wake. It's important to be able to do, to take the time to process what's going on around you. That way you can go back to life at full force. We're going to get this all sliced up. Ooh, I cannot wait to turn off the timer. Alright, now let's make sure we get nice and close with this business. I don't want to skimp out on you on it. So this is... Oh no! I'm so sorry! Oh, chat, please forgive me. I thought I had it. It was right there, and then I was like, nope. Just kidding. Okay, sorry about the noise there. Alright, let's see. Yeah, right there. Ooh la la. Yeah? Will you let me do it? Yep, you'll let me do it. Hey! That's the stacking game. Whew. And that's the meal, folks. I'm super excited about it. Oh, but we have to get a bite. That's right. See how we did. Oh, and now I get to find out the soybeans, what the soybeans did. Totally scrumptious. 10 out of 10, do recommend. No runniness. And then it was okay. After eating it, it was okay. It's nice and smooth, even though the potatoes are a bit chunky. Totally even. And then it says that what you served as an appetizer with this is pickles. Pickles with some garlic mayonnaise. Thank you so much, chat. Donut Kid, Knockwood Saddle. I was really excited to be able to cook this recipe just because, like I was saying earlier, is my experience in diners with eggs and potatoes, and I was able to and this recipe is unlike any of these things that I've made before, and it was just so great to be able to still take this finesse that I'm talking about and just understanding where they are in the cooking process, and to be able to bring it to this dish. What I like about this dish as opposed to the souffle that we made a few weeks back is this dish, it doesn't have to be served immediately, so it doesn't deflate on you. the egg isn't deflating. It's actually like becoming more of a pie as it cools down. The green you see there is supposed to be green frozen peas, but I got too excited at the store and I saw frozen green things and they ended up being soybeans, but still works. That with the red pepper, kind of like it all just works really well together. Nothing dominates everything. It would be very eggy without. I think it'd be more on the eggy side without this smoked red pepper. And the lima beans, I think I actually like it with the lima beans. I wonder how similar this would be to the green beans. Yeah, the bites of smoked red pepper definitely help. Like if you just feel like you're walking into egg, if you like it just tastes like egg for too much, like it's the red pepper is a nice retrieval from the egg taste, and then you can go back in and appreciate it. Just enjoying a nice meal. I really like the I am eating right now, but I just really like the shot of this food, so I thought this is how I'd get people's attention out in the video world. And I was doing dual cameras there for a little bit. I haven't found that to be super necessary though. I've liked it with the one camera. And then, what I don't know though, is if the recipe is coming in large enough on the screens for you. Really smashed it in all together there. Ooh, delish. Oh, I have different things still set up there. Let's see, step 3. Ooh, that's so good. I think I might need to go in for a second slice. And we'll be wrapping this cast up here in the next 10 minutes or so. Be 8 o'clock Mountain Time. That's when I need to get on going. Gotta do this graveyard shift, get the work done. Good stuff. I really like this. I have yet to cook myself, even though I'm waking up in the evenings. I'm really not feeling eggs. Though I am probably going to have to start making more, basically English muffins and a fried egg with some cheese, some butter. Great go-to, like nice It's a nice quick breakfast. I mean, um, on the Instapot though, they got this oatmeal setting, so I'm curious to see how well that works. I really like my steel cuts though, steel cut oats. I like kind of browning the oats a bit before we start cooking it all. But maybe that's just being, gosh, what if that's being French? So, cutting into it again, this is still, even though I'm going in for seconds, it's still nice and warm. It's at a great temperature right now. And it's really important to let this set, to let it cool off for the 15 minutes. With this nice brown shell that you have, it's really trapping the heat inside this Spanish tortilla and really making sure everything cooks thoroughly. This recipe would definitely be unappetizing if it had too raw of egg in it. And then as I've been listening to more chefs, I'm becoming less resistant to using the microwave. So something that I've been trying to keep in mind when I'm going over in recipes is how well the leftovers are. So we'll see how well this microwaves. Vegetables are really great for microwaving because they're so filled with water. And that's what you're doing with a microwave, is you're heating the water in the food. We'll see how, so it should reheat really nice and evenly. But this also might be worth having cold. And then there's also still trying it with this pickles and this garlic mayonnaise, which I would bust out the pickles right now. But for some reason a pickle just feels like a lot right now. I'm very happy with my Spanish tortilla here. The pickle would just be such, like, I'm a pickle! Really enjoying the mild flavor. Let's see. Oh, this is, let's see. So this is about 6 servings, I say this recipe would make. 4 servings if you're not serving it with any sides. Talking when you're grown man or teenager, you definitely probably want to take a quarter of this pie for yourself. But if what would be a good side for this? Sweet yams is kind of something that I'm feeling, but I think that's not exactly the idea. Hearing how the more traditional serving with pickles, so. And then a bread doesn't quite feel right either, because this almost is like a pie. It'd kind of be like having pie and bread, so that doesn't make quite much sense as a side either. Let's see, fruit. fruit would be an okay side. Um, you know, actually, we put away the red onion, and having a dinner salad with the red onion again would be a really nice, or whatever onion you ended up using for the Spanish tortilla. Because it requires a small onion, so taking the little last of the shreds, throwing it back into a vinaigrette salad, that would be probably really rock the flavors. Let's see. So there's that option, and I still dinner salad on the side. What else could go with this? For an easy side. I guess you could serve it with like a black bean. That would help give you a bit more protein and help fill you up a bit. I'm just a little bit slower this stream is all. I'm thinking up on ideas. You might notice it in my voice how I'm like, "Hi, my name is Eeyore. I'm doing a stream today about how to eat delicious." Just that's why I'm so excited for the weekend, though. Get to rest up, which I hope everyone's having the chance, the opportunity to be able to do. Whew. Really appreciate everyone that comes into the stream and says hi. And even if you don't, I'll see you next time. Always great. People checking in. Really liking the stream. Sorry, the screen's all the way up there, but you guys are right here. I sees you. So if you're new to the stream, you're just checking it out, we had some amazing production quality on last week's stream. My brother was kind enough to be able to be the cameraman, so that was really cool. I still gotta rewatch that stream too. This is more of the traditional streams. In my About section, you'll see that this is a vegetarian cooking channel. We cook vegetarian dishes, and then also we do explore vegan categories. Right now, we have yet to do any repeats on recipes, and what we're focusing on right now is that we are using the animal products of milk and cheese the first time around. For like the tomato basil bisque was a really good example. Because these are vegetarian options, but they're not vegan options. And then when we go back and when we do repeat a recipe, we'll be able to substitute and with like instead of a heavy cream with an oat milk or something of this nature. And the reason behind this is it was to be able to give me a reference on, did we hit the mark? Did this substitute Is this substitute working as a substitute? And it requires to just have a baseline. And this is how we're going to get our baseline. And that's why it's not that there is a preference for the cheese and the milk. It's just, what are the words I'm looking for? It was just the way we executed the scientific process. And then we do discuss, we do try to buy organic foods, but we do discuss when part of organic is just the label. This is kind of what we discuss on the show. And some foods, you don't have to be as worried about being organic, like avocados. And then bananas are another one I worry about because they're all the same banana. So I'm really interested. I'm like, what is it that makes a banana organic? Because it should be the exact same banana. So that could be like one of those ones where it's just a price markup. It's the same banana. It was still organic. It's just that they paid for the labeling, which is, it's not that organic food is always more expensive to grow, it's just more expensive to label. The extra cost is going into the labeling that's telling you that it is organic and all those other labels. And then there's some like bottle, but the only people I see really taking advantage of labels are water bottle companies. But then there's some other ridiculous things. But it's really just to help inform people. People, are cooking with people, cooking for folks with all sorts of different um, food diets are out. People are pretty well aware of. I think keto diets are really popular these days, and then pescatarians, vegetarians, veganism, lots and lots of different diets. And then I do notice that a lot is that people um, sometimes interchange vegan and vegetarian, and a big difference between the two. And then also why I like to talk on the show is that like we don't need to be so attached to these labels. Like I call myself a vegetarian. I refer myself to as a vegetarian, but I'm not the biggest egg eater. Um, I don't need to like go full. I don't need to like go all the way down the path of veganism. Um, but I think a better way to get at what I'm saying is not to go full way. Let's just say like you're like just a regular person. You eat meat, you eat vegetables. Um, you can cook vegetarian diet and just add your meat still, and then the appropriate is just like about 8 ounces of meat or so, or still have your sandwiches and stuff. Sandwiches are great. um, I think there's only a couple of different meats to choose from, and you got all these different vegetables to be able to use. And it's this show, even if you aren't vegetarian, you're not vegan, you're just regular Joe, this show is still for you. It'll still show you how to cook really good food, and you can, and I do try to explain like, hey, just cook your meat on the side for this, because uh, I try to keep the family in mind for people that are cooking for families. I think that, and that's why I really tried to emphasize last week's recipe, where it ended up only being $1 or like 30 cents per plate, $1 per person to be fed full and done and satisfied, leftovers and everything. But we're at the end of the show, folks. It's been great. It's been swell. I gotta get my butt over to work. It's been really great hanging out with everyone. I think hopefully I haven't said it for, oh my goodness, I wonder if I've been saying it for a whole month now, that I'm going to start emailing people the recipes that we're going to be working with on Wednesdays. I think it has. I think this is the third. This is going to mark the something. What is time? Don't know what weeks are. I can it's so funny. I can do this math for reducing recipes, but try to figure out how many weeks ago did I say I was going to do that? But we got to wrap it up. But yes, the followers. If you give me a follow down, I will be able to send you an email of the recipe that we'll be doing next Friday. Very excited. Let's see. I have no idea what it's going to be yet. But things are settling down in the household. We should have a great show for you next week. I'm very happy with this recipe. Definitely, it can go bad. Like, definitely cook this recipe once or twice before you impress your significant other with it, because there's just a couple things that could go wrong. But again, this is a great recipe for it to go wrong. If you're really trying to reduce the cost of this recipe, go ahead and don't add the peas and don't add the smoked red bell peppers. Cut down the cost. Then you're just working with eggs and potatoes, and working on getting your temperatures correct. Yes, so my non-stick pans I can't really use this every time with, because you're not supposed to use olive oil on those pans. But again, the olive oil is really important because it has a certain smoking point, and the instructions on this recipe are until right as it begins to smoke, and then add the potato egg mixture again. It's a certain temperature. So if you, like we were saying, if you use avocado oil or something else, it's going to have a different smoking point, so it's going to set differently on you. And then this came out as a great pie too, but even if you totally muck it up and it totally breaks, it still goes in the stomach the same. Like, I have to make this look as pretty as possible for folks. But when you're eating it at home, I'm sure whoever you're cooking for will understand. If it doesn't come out as pretty the first couple times, you gotta build up for these things. Don't be afraid, just because you have to learn somehow. And you mess up on it one time, as long as you don't the only thing you have to focus on is actually just cooking the eggs enough, because that's the only having raw egg, like if you undercook it that badly, which is hard to do if you follow the instructions. It takes about half an hour to cook this all together. And it's great. I think that's going to wrap up what I say for everything tonight. Really looking forward to next week's show. Hopefully I'll be able to sit my butt down on the computer a little bit and start increasing the production value. Still looking to add a second day to the stream. So much has been going on that haven't quite found another day to get that going. Ooh, all right. I talked for several minutes after I said I was going to go. So thank you all so much for putting your energy into people. Thank you so much for being here on this stream. We'll see you all next week on another episode, still untitled cooking show. Thank you so much. Have a great night. This part always takes me forever still.